I have a new neighbor, and he keeps knocking on the pipes at 3 a.m. But it turned out he was trying to send a signal for help. I live in a typical old apartment block. Thin walls, creaky pipes, and you can hear everything, even from the next entrance. I've long been used to the usual noises at night, dogs barking, someone moving furniture. But a few weeks ago, a new neighbor moved into the apartment below mine, and since then my life has turned into something strange. On the very first night, exactly at 3 a.m., I woke up to a metallic sound. Knock knock knock. Pause. Knock knock, knock. I thought, great, I got some drunk or crazy guy who likes to experiment with pipes at night. Falling back asleep was impossible, because the sound kept repeating. The next day, I saw him in the stairwell. He was thin, pale, maybe 35 or 40, with tired eyes. He just nodded at me, didn't even smile. The following night, same thing. Knocking at exactly 3 a.m. And it happened again and again for several nights. I was about to lose it. I wanted to call the police or at least go down and tell him to stop. But something held me back. On the fifth night, I started listening more carefully. And then it hit me, the knocking wasn't random. It had a rhythm. I once read about how prisoners of war used knock codes to communicate through walls. A chill ran down my spine. I opened my laptop and found a chart of the code. The next night, when he started knocking again, I began to translate it. Slowly, but clearly, the letters formed, help. It felt like a bucket of cold water over my head. This wasn't just some weird noise, it was a cry for help. The next day, I tried to talk to him outside the building. I joked. Hey, is your heating working? I keep hearing strange sounds at night. His face changed instantly. He pressed his lips together and said, "Don't get involved. It's better if you don't know." Then he quickly walked away. That night the knocking grew louder. I kept decoding the messages. The words came in fragments, but the meaning was clear. They are keeping me, not my choice, being watched. My hands were shaking as I wrote it all down in my notebook. Imagine sitting in your own apartment, while right beneath your feet someone is basically being held captive. I went to the police. I showed them my notes, explained everything. They laughed at me. "Sir, maybe you just need to get more sleep instead of playing cryptographer at night." But the next night was worse. The knocking wasn't only on the pipes. It came from the floor, from the walls. And then I heard it, "They are here." A minute later, I heard footsteps in the stairwell. Slow, heavy, dragging steps. I peeked through the peephole. A dark figure was standing at his door. It didn't knock. It just stood there. For a long time. Then it walked away. The next day, his apartment was gone, like it never existed. The door was sealed, and the neighbors said, nobody ever lived there. I still don't understand what I saw. I still have the notebook with the decoded messages, and I swear they were real. But the scariest part happened yesterday. At exactly 3 a.m., I heard that same sound again. This time, it came from the pipes inside my apartment. The first night it happened, I thought I was dreaming. At 3 a.m., the pipes inside my walls began to knock. Not loud, but steady. Knock knock knock. Pause. Knock knock. My heart was racing. I sat up in bed and stared at the radiator. The knocking didn't stop. It was the same rhythm. I grabbed my notebook, my hands shaking, and started decoding. The first word appeared slowly, run. I froze. Run from what? From whom? I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination. But then another word formed, now. I packed a bag without thinking.
My puna, my wallet, my case.
I was halfway to the door when my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. No text, just a voicemail. I played it. Static. Then, faintly, my own voice. Don't get involved. It's better if you don't know. I dropped the phone. That was exactly what the neighbor had said to me days earlier. I opened my door to the hallway. It was completely silent. No sounds from the other apartments, no distant traffic. Just silence. I went down the stairs, my heart pounding. The stairwell seemed darker than usual, like the lights were dimmed on purpose. When I reached the ground floor, I saw something that made my stomach turn. The sealed door to my neighbor's apartment was gone. In its place was a door standing wide open. Inside, nothing but blackness. I should have left. I know I should have. But something made me step inside. The air was freezing. The walls were bare concrete, like an unfinished basement. No furniture. No pipes. No windows. Only a single chair in the middle of the room. On the chair lay a notebook. My notebook. The one I had been writing in upstairs. I picked it up. All the pages were blank, except for the last one. In big letters, scrawled across the page, "You are next." The door slammed behind me. I spun around. The room was empty, but I could hear the knocking again. Not on pipes this time, on the walls themselves. The rhythm was faster, louder. Knock, 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 knock. And then a whisper right next to my ear. "It's better if you don't know." The lights went out. The lights went out, but my eyes adjusted to the dark. The room felt bigger now, like the walls had moved farther away. The knocking had stopped. Only silence. I stood there with the notebook in my hands, trying not to breathe too loud. Then, from somewhere in the dark, a voice spoke. It was low, hoarse, like someone who hadn't spoken in years. "You heard me. You're the first who heard me." I spun around, but saw nothing. Just shadows. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling. The voice answered, "I was here before him. Before you. Before this building." My heart pounded. "What do you want from me?" A pause. Then, "I want you to finish what he couldn't." Suddenly the room lit up with a dim yellow glow. The walls weren't concrete anymore. They were covered in photographs, hundreds of them, of people standing in the stairwell, in the hallway, even in my own apartment. Faces blurred, but all of them had the same hollow eyes. And in every picture, there was the neighbor. Pale, tired, standing in the background. I stepped back and hit something solid. It was the radiator from my apartment, standing in the middle of the room like it had been ripped out of the wall. Its metal pipes were glowing faintly. I touched it and heard a flood of whispers rush into my head. They weren't just random voices. They were messages. Pleas for help. Warnings. Confessions. All of them trapped. All of them knocking. My neighbor had been trying to decode them. Trying to warn the next person. Trying to break the chain. I understood now. The knocking wasn't a haunting. It was a prison. Something, or someone, used the pipes, the walls, the sound, to pull people in. And the only way to stop it was to pass the message to the next one before it took you completely. I dropped the notebook. The glow dimmed. The voice whispered one last time. "If you stay, you'll be me. If you run, you'll be free. But you must warn the next." The door to the hallway swung open. Bright daylight poured in. Without thinking, I ran. Up the stairs, past my apartment, out into the street. When I looked back, the building looked normal again. The sealed door was back. The hallway was quiet. I still don't know what that place was, or who my neighbor really was. But I haven't been back to my apartment since. Last night, in a cheap hotel room across town, I woke up at 3 a.m. to a familiar sound from the radiator. Knock, knock, knock. Pause. Knock, knock. And this time, I didn't decode it. I wasn't sure if I should post this. Even now, my hands are shaking as I type. Since that night, I've been moving from place to place, never staying long. Hotels, rentals, even crashing at a friend's. But it doesn't matter. Every single night, at exactly 3 a.m., the knocking follows me. Different walls. Different pipes. Same rhythm. I don't decode it anymore. I can't. Because the moment you listen too closely, you let it in. That's how it starts. That's how it spreads. My neighbor knew this. That's why he told me not to get involved. That's why he passed it to me. And now I've passed it to you. So if, one night soon, you wake up at 3 a.m. to the sound of knocking in your walls, Don't answer. Please. Don't answer.